500,000?
Yes.
What happened and how did you get scammed?
Then I remember when we found out that we had been scammed, I collected the phone from him and I was like, sir, please pity us. We're two young teenagers who won't understand. The estimated pay was supposed to be $3,000.
$3,000?
Yes.
Azeezah.
Hello, Aziz.
Welcome.
It's nice to be back.
Last time we spoke, a couple of persons, some friends, they'll send you a message. They'll be like, I watch your video, but they'll not comment on the video. They'll just tell me, I watch your video. But the one they were commenting most on was on the one I did with you. They were like, they need some information. A lot of ladies were inspired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, and hence why we're here. We want to do a deep dive.
Okay. Well,
Beautiful.
here I am. I'm back.
Beautiful.
I'm better.
What have you been up to?
Pharmacy school. I'm back to be health. I took a pause on it because, I had to sort out something. But now we're back. Hopefully, we'll, talk more about be health as the video progresses.
Yes, we will definitely have to talk about that. Well, let us zoom out a little bit. Let's start from the beginning. How this all started. How did it start? How did you know that you wanted to do this?
Go down to 3 years ago in March, I think. I started tech on the 22nd of March 2022. Yes, I remember the date because I was running an errand and I remember I saw a flyer for, it was a tech hub, I think. And then they were like, oh, come and learn front end, come and learn back end. And then I saw 40K. And we were on strike. The last ASU strike had just started. And I was bored out of my head. So I reached out to a friend and then he said, no, don't pay yet. Go to the internet, find out what it's about first. So do your research. And there's a lot of free resources online. Before you pay, I'm not asking you not to pay, but before you pay, make sure that you already have, a comprehensive idea of what tech is about, if it's your thing, because you wouldn't want to pay for something and then discover that, oh, it's not your thing. He gave me that advice and I did my research and sponsored ads came up. I saw websites like W3 School, Solo Learn, Free Code Camp, several of them. So the first one I went to was Free Code Camp. So I started Free Code Camp, I started with the most basic HTML, CSS. Free Code Camp, I highly recommend. I think I documented it on my Instagram. I called it Azeezah's Journey to Tech. So I started that. I went to Twitter. I started looking for people that were doing front end. I started looking at their content. I started interacting with their content. I started, reached out to a few people, asked for advice and all of that. I kept building. So if I build a website, I remember I built Netflix clone and I reached out to a friend and I was like, look at this website. Does it give you the feel of Netflix? And, he gave me his honest feedback. Yeah, it does, but you need to change this, you need to change this. The thing with criticism, it's not always fun because this is someone that you're expecting to support all that you're doing. I'm supposed to tell you, oh, you did amazing, this is the better. But then he sits me down and then he's like, what kind of ugly color did you come by? And I'm like, wow, that's hurtful. And then he's like, do you want to learn or do you want me to, pander to you? And then several months after, then I did later pay for the 40K class. But then after a few months, we were still on strike and the same tech hub were offering a 7-day free class. So I went for the 7-day free class because I wanted to have a feel of what it was like, learning it from class. So in September, one day I was on LinkedIn and I came across, I think it's Cassie Ojuku, but then I saw blockchain developer. And I'm like, what's a blockchain developer? At some point, I was starting to get information overload, and then I find out something that blockchain development, and I'm like, what is going on? Is it also front end? Is it also back end? So I kept doing my research. I was almost always on Twitter, LinkedIn, or Google, always typing stuff, always finding out stuff. I remember that was when I met my mentor, Idris Olubisi, Olanetsoft, that's his handle. So that was when I went through his profile and I was really impressed. And I saw his CV. He went to ATBU. I was like, oh, this is somebody that went to the north. Like it felt like somebody I could relate with. And I saw that he was also a blockchain developer and he was the founder of Web3 Africa. So I reached out to him. I spoke to him. He gave me some tips, gave me some advice. Then they were now holding Web3 Africa Bootcamp. That was, I think, in October of that year. So I registered, I got in for the Web3 Africa Bootcamp. So I also applied for Polygon Africa Bootcamp. I got in. So basically that was how I kept going from, from front end to practicing to blockchain and all of that. But then in 2023, I was in one of the toughest classes. So I had to take a break. So I think I left tech for almost 8 months. I was trying to figure out a balance, how to balance tech and school, that one wouldn't affect the other. 2024, I spent the bulk of 2024 building and networking. So 2024 was basically the year that changed my life in tech.
Beautiful. That is a very amazing story. Well, what I want to know is, how how long did it take before you started seeing results?
Hmm. How long does it take for you to start seeing results? Depends on how you define your results.
Mm.
If you're talking of in terms of personal progress, that's up to you. You can start seeing results in 3 months. But if you're talking of in terms of finances, payments, depends on how good you are, how many hours you put into it at the end of the day, and how active you are on the internet, how much you put yourself out there. That's what will determine. But personally, I didn't get I didn't get anything until 2024, until 2 years after I had started tech. But because I was always talking about it on the internet, I met someone who, asked me to design a landing page. I told him yes, I could do it. And he said, how long would it take me? Because I wasn't exactly sure of the scope of work. I said 1 week. Because if you ask me now, I'll tell you to give me at least 2 weeks. So I said 1 week. And I wasn't able to deliver in 1 week. I was able to deliver in, I think, 10 days.
Mm.
So after the whole 10 days, we had a meeting and he was like, oh, something came up with the whole project. They're not going to be moving forward. He was like, this is not payment for the website to build, though. This is just take so that it will not be like you didn't get anything. Then he gave me 30K. That was first money I made in tech, 30,000 naira. And that was after 2 years. So if you're going into tech and you want to start making 500K a month in 6 months, I'm sorry, but you're delusional. It's not going to happen. It most likely will not happen. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying the chances are very slim.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, and for some of us, especially in the African setting, starting out, for me, for example, I had it rough with my parents. What I want to ask is, how supportive were your parents?
In our Nigerian society, I think you should be less concerned about support from your parents. Not to dunk on them or anything, but they cannot grasp what you're doing. My dad's always like, what are you pressing? You're always pressing something. What is this thing? And I'm like, um, blockchain. I do blockchain development. And he's like, what's blockchain? And I'm like, oh, crypto. And I try to explain. And he's like, crypto. It's not the same one that you got scammed. And he was like, this same thing that they scam you is what you're still doing. My friend, leave that thing. Focus on your pharmacy. Focus on your pharmacy. This tech thing you're doing. Yeah, I don't send you. Nobody sent you. And then for my mom was a little more supportive because my mom and I are close. So I was able to, talk to her and explain to her. But she started having a problem when I had to be taking trips and be traveling. So a lot of times, if you're starting out something, if it's tailoring, if it's catering, they can relate to it. But you want to start doing blockchain development. You want to start building NFT. The average Nigerian parent cannot understand. As long as you have internal motivation, like you're determined that I myself am going to do this thing. Focus less on the support you're going to get from your parents. Just make sure that you put in the effort so much so that you make it. When you make it, they will come around.
What happened and how did you get scammed?
Well, my brother met someone on Telegram and then they got talking. The guy said he will collect money from you, he will put it into the coin. According to what he said, when you do 100x, then he'll give you your money. Then he's going to take away his own commission and then he'll give you. The first red flag was nobody, absolutely nobody in the crypto space, they'll take money from you and trade for you. Nobody will do that. Anybody that takes your money and say they want to help you trade and multiply it, it's probably a thief. They'll rather give you signal. Anything you use your money do, it's your business. The second red flag was how much the money was going to multiply. What do you mean? I'm going to give you $100 and you give me like 10K, $10K. That's like 1,000x. The funny thing is, the money was a birthday gift.
Uh-oh.
So I carried all the money. My brother too carried all his own. We even took from our mom's money. And then we gathered, and then we were like, ooh, the more the money, the more the profit.
Oh, okay.
Everything.
Proper gambling.
Proper gambling. And I remember when we found out that we had this scam, I collected the phone from him, and I was like, sir, please pity us. We're two young teenagers who won't understand. And then the guy was like, don't worry, you're still going to get your money. You just have to pay $50 release fee. Well, alhamdulillah, now I know better. Even though I've been scammed after by a client, but at least this one was a job I did and it didn't pay me.
You made mention of being scammed by a client. Can you briefly tell me how
Okay,
did that happen?
I actually made a lot of mistakes. I didn't properly do my research. Also, the clients went against the agreement. I should have cut stuff from there, but I still, I still kept, I wanted to deliver. I had to bring two people on board to like get that done because I didn't want to disappoint.
And you did it completely.
The website is currently live as I talk to you.
So, let us talk numbers. You know, when a lot of persons hear Web3, it's like, oh, more you do, they make a lot of money. This is what people think in Web3.
Yes, right.
Yeah, we truly, I know a lot of people who make money in Web3. So virtually everyone I know in Web3 make a lot of money. So what are your numbers? What is the biggest gig you've gotten?
This is a trick question.
Is it?
It is. I don't usually like to talk numbers, but a rough estimate,
Yes, please.
my biggest gig so far between last year and now is roughly about $500,000 naira. It's not to that. Don't do that.
$500,000.
Yes.
What? How many civil servants make this amount of money in a month? And you just
You should have asked me how many months it took me to make that.
Oh, how many months did it take you to make that?
No, it was a long project. I think it was like 2-3 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it counts, but then there was this gig. It fell through. It didn't work out. Or the estimated pay was supposed to be $3,000.
$3,000.
Yes, but it didn't work out.
What happened?
There's an NDA on it, so I can't really speak much.
Okay.
Yes. But yeah, $3,000 would have done something in my life. But hopefully, I plan to hit it this year.
Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
While you were on this journey to date, what were the highlights and the biggest problems or issues you had?
I think the biggest problem is still like the general problems, like lights, internet. Oh, I don't know if it's a challenge for imposter syndrome. It's something you can't go around it, you can't go over it, you can't go under. You must go through imposter syndrome. Like you have to pass through. So if you want to do comparison, you have to compare it to what you built last year, what you built 6 months ago. Are they the same? What skills do you have now that makes you better than you of 6 months ago? So I think the biggest challenge in the tech space is internal and also zone. I'm glad that the north is starting to open up to a lot of tech events, but usually when I started, I'd want to go for a lot of these conferences, these events, but then a lot of them were in Lagos.
Wow.
So those were the majority of challenges I faced, was not being able to attend these events that I wanted to because of distance and time. Like I remember Web3 Lagos conference in 2023. I wanted to attend. I couldn't. 2024, I was close to attending. I still was unable to. But hopefully this year, I'm looking forward to attending like 2-3 events in Lagos. So hopefully the opportunity opens up. And also payments is not exactly the biggest challenge, but figuring out how to do your pricing. I had to speak to friends that were already in the industry. Because I remember there was one time someone brought a gig to me and I was like, let me charge 50K. I was like, okay, before I charge 50K, let me reach out to my friend who was a dev. Yeah. So I told him, ask them for their budget first. Yeah. So I was like, okay, what's your budget? And then they said their budget was 250. So I said, oh, okay, I'll charge 300. That's how you do pricing. So let's say you initially wanted to charge 200. You ask your client, his budget is 250. Usually, budget is always up for negotiation. Yes. If it's not, they'll tell you it's not up for negotiation. So at the end of the day, you would get the 250, because if they know that this is a job that will cost 150K
And you're asking for
and you're
50K.
asking for 50K, they'll just be like, oh, okay, we'll get back to you, and that's the end. They'll just know that they're not sure if you're good enough for the job.
That's game. Negotiation
That's game.
masterclass.
Yes, negotiation. You have to learn.
Yes, you have to. 100%. Did you face any problems as a female in this field?
The first problem is finding a community of other female devs, especially if you're looking for your immediate environment. So if I want to find a community of women in blockchain in the north, let's say Kaduna, it's going to be hard. Or maybe Abuja. I might even get in Abuja, but finding in Kaduna would be more of a hassle. So except if you find like one or two babes that are, they're not a lot. So community as a lady was the first thing. But generally speaking, aside from that, no, I don't think there's any discrimination in the field so far yet. Because all of the people that I have worked with, all of the people that I have met, I don't think there's anybody that has ever said, oh, we don't think you're going to be able to do the job because you're a lady. If they don't feel like you can do the job, it's probably because you don't have enough proof of work that you can't do the job, that you can't deliver, not because, oh, you're a lady or anything. So yes, I don't
It's your
think
qualification,
it's
not
your
your
quality.
gender.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's your skills that matters, because a lot of times some of these clients even work with you without really knowing what you look like.
Truly.
They can have an idea, maybe say from your profile picture on Twitter or something, but then they might not exactly know what you look like. As long as you can deliver.
Yes. Okay. The last thing I want to ask is, currently, what is Azeezah working on?
Okay, so what is Azeezah currently working on? Myself. I am building my brand. I am building my company. And I am building a personal project very dear to my heart. Be Health.
Be Health.
Yes, it's short for Better Health.
Better Health.
Yes, so Be Health. I submitted it for the Solana Colosseum Radar Hackathon that happened last year. And unfortunately, I didn't win, but it gave me an opportunity, an idea that, this could be more than just a hackathon submission. So basically, Be Health is a crowdfunding platform for women and children with medical challenges. This idea stems from a place where I have seen women denied healthcare by their primary providers simply because they don't have the funds. So basically, that's what Be Health is trying to target. So we were like, these women, let's provide them comfort in form of money, in form of support. So with BL, what we plan to do is we're also making it blockchain based, so that if you want to make payments in crypto, if you want to make donations in crypto. So already we're currently doing a revamp. So we are rebuilding, we're doing our testing, we're doing our researching. We want to perfect our user flow. Yeah, watch out for Be Health. We are coming, and we cannot wait to change the lives of women and children.
I love this idea. There are a lot of women that are suffering out there, to be quite honest. It's a very beautiful project, I promise. And how do you plan on doing PR?
We want to launch first so that, we'll get people.
The launch date is when?
We don't have a launch date yet. Our target is April ending.
Okay.
So between last week of April, so we plan to launch by then. But then for PR, we just plan to do our marketing via social media. So we already have an X page. So we would be putting updates there. Then for Instagram too, we're going to be creating a page for PR. And yeah, we just, we're looking to get our first, 50 to 100 people to sign up, users. So then if we can get one or two people to actually, provide funds for them. So, we're focusing on progress, not perfection. So we want to start small and level up. Yeah. And as soon as we launch, we're looking to, all these companies, all these organizations, we're looking to speak to investors, people that want to come on board, blockchain ecosystems that want to sponsor, that like us to build on the ecosystem. And yeah, basically that's it. So launching, PR and investment, that's all. That's our target for now.
Beautiful. And if there's any way you see, Aziz can help and Old School can help, you can always do something.
I look forward to that.
Alrighty. If someone wants to reach out to you, what where do you hang out? What are the platforms you hang out in?
You can reach out to me on X, that's Twitter, at Azeezah_Zatu, AZEE_ZATOU. You'd see Azeezah2.dev, and you can also find me clowning on Snapchat at Azeezah2.